Okay, welcome. So today I want to give an interesting general kind of guide for people on one thing. So about visitors and what that is, um, who they are, what that can range from, spiritual practices that can protect you from that, spiritual exercises before bed that could even measure out to be, beneficial to warding them off permanently. There are some permanent ways to keep those away. Yeah, there are really some permanent ways. Um, so first, I'm going to start off with spirits are considered visitors in a house unless they live there. So for spirit to live there, that means that if they are not a visitor, then that means they are from the land. And if they're from the land, then that means that they're of the spirit of the earth. So that is earthbound spirits. So one thing, when people say that they see ghosts, those are not necessarily earthbound spirits, but they are tied to earth, but they roam freely. They can still roam freely, they can still go where they want to, they live the afterlife, and when we view them, they shed their dimensional um, I don't know how I would say it. Dimensional. They open like a thing for us to see them. It's weird. If you've ever seen a ghost before, like sometimes one of those things is if you see them, you know that what you've seen is like, yeah, I saw this. So how do I explain it? Well, one thing I would say is that they are very typical about showing up to certain people particularly. They don't show up to everyone all the time unless that's just a normal thing for the place, or unless it's like very heavily haunted. Now, if you have ghosts showing up for everybody and all the time, that's a haunted place because that whatever happened there, that's definitely a place that is very fixated and there's some problems going on. I wouldn't say problems all the time, but I'd say probably some very powerful energy. Not necessarily bad or good, but just an energy, One thing I will say though is that spirits can range as visitors, however. They can be there and still be a visitor and still be in your house and still be earthbound spirits, or they can just be a regular spirit, something that is pulled from you because you invite that in. So those could be entities, those could be fairies, even for different geographic speaking geographically, it is different fundamentally. But again, we do have animals, so those are considered fairies. Those are considered familiars in a depth, kind of that I would say familiars, not really familiars, because we've domesticated them. You get what I mean? We've domesticated them, so they're not considered familiars unless which we can get into that later if we're interested. But one thing about spirits is that they will show your path to you if you listen to them. And this path is something that I say for many, is that a path is something that is yours. So for them to show you, you need to listen to yourself. Not necessarily to spirit or what you hear, but listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to what you feel, listen to your heart, listen to your breath. Listen to how you sound, listen to how you feel, and reflect on that. That is a very healthy thing. That is what we should do as human beings. However, we have lost touch of some of that. And one thing I should say is that people who do not normally do this do tend to have problems. And they do arise into, generally toxic masculinity, I would say in some ways. Or bad habits. There are some people who are addicted to drugs. It's very sad. And then there are people who are psychotic. There are people who are going through multiple psychoses. Um, One thing I want to be very clear, this channel is a healing channel. This channel is one for people to heal. And I want to elaborate more on that, is that this channel is to be used for anything to be used for healing. So if it heals you, good. But if there's no outcome to heal at the end, then no. This is not for that use. This is not for that agenda. This does not sign up for that policy or anything at all. This is not information to be sold. So, however, I do readings, and those are given down below for the cash app. Those are not the healing sessions. Um, he, yeah, we'll get down that road. But again, visitors, spirits, familiars. Where we were at was that visitors are something along the lines where we can also have visitors outside of our earth. That is one thing I'll say. There are aerial spirits, spirits of the air, spirits of the air, spirits even of the body. There are spirits of the body. There are. That is one thing people do not quite fully comprehend. There are spirits of the body, and this is a good lesson to learn. Jesus was the teacher of the spirit of the body. He knew how to do readings. He knew how to do psychic overlays. He knew how to be a witch. He knew what a witch was. However, he could not be a witch. So what he did was, he would do what he did by divination upon the person, and he disguised it with a religion, and then it was what it was today, and that is why there will be no well, we were in the age of Aquarius. Now we're not. I don't know. I still think we're in the age of Aquarius is what it feels like to me, but I know we're in Pisces. I know we're in the Pisces age. This is November, so I know that we're in a month which is Pisces. Let me see. Let me double check. I believe it is Pisces. Oh no, we're still in Scorpio. Still in Scorpio. So, Scorpio, let me tell you something. This is not for the weak. This is not for the weak. Scorpio is very, very vicious. Scorpio, if you notice yourself crying every day, if you notice yourself going through phases where you just feel like you don't know what you're doing. You don't know, you don't find it there altogether, you just don't even know. You feel sick, you feel out of place. One thing I'll say is that to get back into who you are, look into spiritual understandings for who you are. You can tap into those zodiacs, though. You can tap into those. Those zodiac signs are signs that tap into the algorithm of what we are as people. They're very complex, more complex than what we actually think, which is fascinating because astrology signs are, one of the most things that you would actually believe make no sense, but they're much bigger than what they actually think or what we think we feel. Psychology speaks and tells us that in different terms that emotions are comprehended methods of what we realize in statements or sentences or words in a overlay of our consciousness or in patterns or a factual basis of something that is logical or expressed or as a statement. And then there's different things with psychology that can tell you, even with the parapsychology field, where there are unknown circumstances that are bizarre. There's just no explanation for that. That is one thing that I look into. I am not from that field, though. I do not partake in psychology. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a medical employee. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. So anything that I'm giving out is something that is just my way of what I have discovered in my life. This is not necessarily for the next person, but this is for the next person to take as a consideration or an opinion, granted by their own self-desire of what they choose. So, moving on. Spirits and visitors. These can be beings from other planets. And when I mean other planets, I don't mean planets that they live on currently. They can still operate on the same level without living on a planet. That is one thing we don't quite tap into. We think that we need to live on a planet. There are high senses of technology out there. Let me explain that one more time. So there are high capable technologies out there. heightened capable technologies out there that are very um, they're very difficult to explain. Because I've done some research with some things, and they're very bizarre how they work. It's almost like it's technology, but it's not. And it's weird to explain it because of the situation that I've contacted these beings about. They would say a technology that they would use would be something normally, and I would use as an example, like we could say like something that repairs our aura. Say we went in battle for something today, and that would be like healing somebody, and we had to go in with our full energy, dive in and take all that energy off that person and suck it in and take it in ourselves and wear that and hold on to that. We as empaths do that. And what I say is that to protect yourself is to always be aware that there is no power greater than you or there is no power lower than you. You are the master of that power. You're the master of your consciousness. So you are the tapped in control person. Nobody can see what you see. Nobody can know what you know. The thing is, um, these visitors know how to handle those things. They know how to sense those. They know what you think. They can know that. They've evolutionized thought. And that is one thing when they've evolutionized thought, some of the perceptions are not on the same thought levels as us. So we could be talking with them, and they could be definitely doing some other thing in a different portion of their process of what they would do and be somewhere else. And I don't mean like physically, I mean mentally. Their functioning is heightened with everything. They possess rare gifts that are specific to their traits of their ancestral lineage, where they come from. They are beings capable of love, very, very powerful love, that it is very healing. And they are very powerful in the fact that they give off a comfort to many. One thing is, a lot of people would say, even though we do generally think that, there is something bad going to happen in the future, we all know that we just feel calm about something. Like something's just, you know, washing over. Well, generally, I would say you are right. You're correct. The new apps and new technologies that are approaching us are updates from certain certain lifetimes of studies of things. Some things are becoming reality because of the things that are being discovered from the past. And like I say, some things were banned in the past, and some things are not the same today that are banned now that were not banned in the past. And as I say, like state laws, country borders, um, state powers, powers of the world. And so one thing I'll tell you something is that I do get a feeling when I speak of this in the card and tarot that I do draw tarot. I get the world. This is a very powerful card, and it's very scary. This is explaining and generally what I'm saying, the world, and when I explain this is, if I could pull this card out, I would show you what it looks like. But the world speaks about change. Regardless of what will happen, there will be change, and we know that with everything. So these visitors will be approaching this life. They want to live with us. They want to be around us. They want to experience life with us. They want to experience that, and they're very nice. They're very nice. Um, they are just literally like us, just like us. One thing I would say, not all look the same. Some are very differently colored in skin. Like I've seen purple, I've seen maybe blue, from what I would seen. But there has been some new interesting, not for sure, I'm not for sure. There has been some new interesting information that did reach me a couple days ago with some things. I wasn't for sure, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. No, I think that was just somebody, yeah, something else. But The thing is, visitors, like these beings. So, one thing, some people don't want to be with these, and that is okay. Let me tell you something. You can't change the life from the people or the lords or the power that made you. Do you understand that? Do you? So you can't ever let go of where you come from. This is why you come back into the next life. So let me explain something. The power that we come from is so powerful that it is us. We don't realize it. And that power is connected to everything around us. As people, we're connected just like a grid. We go up in little levels where we compare ourselves and we say we're better, we say we're unequal, we say we're different values, apparently. That's okay. That's good. That's what needs to be happening. But we need to understand that we are the same. We're still the same people. We're still the same beings. We're still the same from the inside out. And these beings don't care about that. There are some who would want to harm us, and those are ones that are already here. You have not understand fully that some of these beings you just can't avoid. And this is one thing I'll talk about maybe down the road. I don't think I will talk about it though. I just don't like talking about it because it scares people, and it's just not something that I really like. It's just not comfortable to talk about. It doesn't make me feel comfortable to know how half the human race just goes missing, and we never ever check that where that goes. Half the human race, or where we get vaccines from to mandate things. Like who checks the people who discover these things? Who checks them? Who is the one giving these people um, this knowledge? Where are they getting their knowledge from? That is one thing that should be free for everyone. That is something that I want to know why only these people are restricted to have this power. You have the right to know all these things. And as I'll explain, we can elevate our consciousness. There's a perception, a barrier that we all have. It cloaks our mind. When we close our eyes, we see blackness, we see darkness. You see nothing but sound. It's a perception. You may hear it. You can hear it, right? So you can see it if you can see a letter in your head. You can put that letter, that word. You can definitely put that letter and word in your head. Just put one word. Spell that out. And say it in your mind. Say it in your mind like you're reading a book. That's what a psychic does. We read people just the same as we read books. And it's a power. It's a superpower. Everybody has the ability to do this. There's no one who can't do this. And let me tell you, just because somebody doesn't do it the exact same way doesn't mean it doesn't happen or doesn't exist. Some people only do it while they sleep. That is one thing that does exist. And some people, when I mean sleep, only do it because they can only live. They don't function on the same level. That is perfectly natural. As I say, we think we judge too harshly when we look into the medical conditions of what people go through. But yet again, comprehension lies in what we act, as in through ego. So check your ego before you attempt to judge, because that is an ego, and underneath that layer lies another thought that blocks another process of you waking up and seeing some of these perceptions, and you actually talking to these beings. These are very open beings. They do not limit themselves to me. So you have the power to claim who you are. You have the power to that. You have the power to choose. So to whoever who, finds this is a very good opportunity. Obsidian, crystal quartz, amethyst, ruby. I think those ones are really good. Those ones are really good. Those ones will protect you from, because the ruby will inspire the heart. It'll inspire your strength. The obsidian will protect you because it comes directly from earth. It is the blood of earth because it is the lava of the earth's crust. As in an example, when you have magma and it hardens and it cools, it breaks off in shards. When it, I don't know what they call it technically, but bless, uh, crystallized, not, I don't know crystallized, but blaspheric crystallized obsidian. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's almost like it's very sharp though, so be careful holding it. Um, and then quartz will power that, all three of those. And then amethyst will heal you. Keep those together, you'll be good. And you can even use a garnet. A garnet can be a substitute for ruby. Quartz, you can have a substitute for that even. But you want to substitute that with tiger's eye. Now, never give up obsidian. Don't give that up. You need obsidian. That is the number one ingredient you do need. Don't ever try to give up ingredients and spells, or even because crystals are not really spells. If you think putting a couple rocks together underneath your bed, or putting them in your closet, or putting them near your pillow, like like on the corner, or by your window where you sleep, is a spell, then I want to know something. If you think about something honestly, do you think electricity is a spell? Do you think that's a spell? Do you think that sound is a spell? Do you think that glasses are a spell? Do you think that chemicals are a spell? Do you think that water's a spell? I mean, because all of these just seem so natural. That's what I wonder. Because they're just so supernatural. Supernatural. Get that? So they're supernatural, and naturally they are what we say they are. We believe it, that's how we deem it, and that's what we judge our power based on. So the perception, I say again, with waking up our perception, it is about concentrating on the energy and the goal of the outcome, and achieving the state of mind, pushing past the limit. The threshold of our consciousness lies in the dependability of the ego. So, when you want to remove an ego, focus on this. Remember, this is not of you. You are not of it. This is something that's foreign. Egos are foreign. So you never had a choice with some of these. Some of them were a choice, some of them weren't. You have the choice to remove some that weren't. Some of them that were, you have to build to remove them. That's very normal. And this is why we have problems that exist. That's also normal. And also, one thing I will say, things before you go to bed. When you have shadow beings coming to your I would say like entities, contacting you when you sleep. Those crystals are powerful. They will not interfere with those at all. And if you keep, meditation, deep sleep sounds, I would spell meditation, deep sleep, exactly like that. There are ones that are 8 hours. There are ones that are like 9 or 11 hours. Those ones are good. Choose what you like. Feel comfortable. Run that browse. Look at the ones that are really comfortable. Everybody's not the same way. That's perfect. We want somebody who is perfect in their way. You're perfect in your way. Nobody says that your meditation is bad, because you can't do anything wrong when you're meditating. There's nothing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. Your goal is to just de-stress. When you let go, you're not doing anything wrong. And that's what I want you to focus on. So that is what you should try. Letting go of past karma. That is how karma is given. By letting go of past problems, you give karma. By allowing new beauty and power and sanctity and love and purpose and blessings and God in your life, that is karma. Now let me tell you something. Not all people operate with karma. Not all people have to. There was a time I operated in karma. I found it very beautiful and I liked it. But there was a time that I really learned out that I needed to pursue knowledge for a lot of different reasons. I had to embrace my life into something that was fundamentally just very, I had to pursue that. I didn't have a choice. I had to teach myself who I was. I had to teach myself about my life. I had to teach myself about where I came from. I had to teach myself about what I was, who I was, and how I felt about that. And I also got to learn about a lot of things that left me about that. And I had some people that disbelieved that. It still didn't change anything. It still didn't change anything because I know that they're right by my side. And even still, that the people that believed that what they believed was correct, and with their doubt, it never removed anything. Because their thoughts can't perceive my thoughts. The elevation of our thoughts, when we're psychic and when we can communicate to spirits, is building layers upon layers. Just like a snake skin sheds its snake. They do that because their skin is very protective. And just as I say, snakes are sacred. You should not fear a snake. You should fear fruit. Fruit is scary. To be offered something sweet is almost to be that, a trick. Wouldn't everything, if everything was perfect, that's a scary dream. Everything's perfect. That's scary. Isn't it? Everything's perfect. Scary. Now if you were offered something that you could deal with and that you discovered wasn't that scary at all, who told you this was bad? Who told you this was wrong? Who told you this was scary? Who told you what to fear? You know, look at those things. Who tells you things to fear? Who tells you who you are? Who tells you what to feel? It isn't me or I. Should be you, right? Should be you. Should always be you. And it's okay if you can't control that. It's okay. And also I want to say to all you guys, I want to say that I hope you had a really good day. It was nice talking with you guys with this video. And it was just something that I really will become more in line with, like with getting more in depth with certain themes and topics. Because there's a lot of themes that I studied. And just because I would say roughly, because I cannot base some of these things literally in a book. So my videos, my videos are very much the same thing as what I would put in my book. So all of these are my rights. So, be very careful. I hope you guys have a good night. You guys stay safe.